So my name's Denise, and I'm the president of Affordable Degrees Abroad. I'm so happy to have you here. And today you are here because you want to learn about how to grow your career and also how to perhaps grow your career in France and Italy. Now, one of the best ways that I have found to do this is to get a master's degree in that country. So today we've got two awesome guests that I'm really excited to be able to turn you on to and to learn about how to make this a reality for yourself, how to gain not only a master's degree, but industry connections. So that's what we're up to today. All right, Brayden, keep us going. So our two folks that we've got on the call today are Università Cattolica, and they're based out of Italy, and BSB, Burgundy School of Business, based out of France. And I want to say a special shout out. I'll have them do introductions in a second. It's 2 in the morning for our special guests. So want to be sure we share the love today with them. All right, Brayden, keep going. All right, just for me to have a sense of who's out there, and please put it in the chat to everyone. I want to know, are you a student or a recent graduate? Are you a professional, somebody who's changing careers? Are you an IEC? Just to get a sense of who's out there. So if you wouldn't mind popping that into the chat, that would be awesome. All right, IEC, law grad. Career changing. Yay, soon to be graduate. All right, so we've got awesome professional looking for a new career. Undergrad. Great. All right, so it sounds like we've just got a range of people. Regardless, I think you're going to get a lot of really good information that's going to help help you make some good decisions and create a vibrant life abroad. Yeah, got a question from Andrea. She asked, are we on mute? And yeah, so the quick reminder, this is a webinar. And so with webinar, no one can see you. And the only way to ask questions is through the Q&A or through the chat. And so what that means is you can be in your jammies and it's all good. Nobody's going to see what's going on. Awesome, career change from DU, great. All right, let's keep going. So I always like to start off just by getting a sense of where you have either traveled to or studied in or worked in, which countries. And I'm especially curious if France and Italy have been on your list and you've traveled to, or it's on your bucket list. So if you wouldn't mind also popping that into the chat, I'd like to sort of get a sense of like, where people's international experience and what they're all already juicy about. What's going on? Ooh, semester in Lyon. All right, that's one of the cities we'll be looking at today, Zach. Italy, awesome. Italy's on my list, travel to Italy. Great, so it looks like some of you already have some experience in France and Italy. Oh, look, Florence, Rome, and Venice. So, and as you can tell, I'm somebody who loves France and Italy. I myself lived in France and visited Italy, and in a heartbeat, I would move back. So these are places near and dear to my heart, and I think you're going to be inspired. All right, Brayden, move us along. So really quickly about me, my name's Denise. Some of you know me, some of you might be new. I'm the president of Affordable Degrees Abroad, and I've been in international education for 20 years. And I myself have lived in, let's see, France, Turkey, Japan, Morocco for around 6 years. And all of this is near and dear to my heart. And so my job really is to help you live your best, most vibrant life abroad. And I have sent on my watch 4,000 students abroad to around 150 universities. through all my experiences with international education. So this is something that I'm passionate about and that I want to be able to communicate this to you. And my mission, Braden, next slide, is one of the things that sort of brought me to create my business is I became really concerned about the high price tag of university in the US and felt like, you know what, I think there's a better way to do this. And so my mission is to be a guide to help you sort through all of the choices abroad so you make good decisions for yourself. But there are so many awesome opportunities. And so today I'm super excited to be able to turn you on to 2 great institutions. And next slide. So these are the folks that I'm excited to introduce you to. We have Elizabeth from Cattolica, which is in Italy, and Mick from BSB, Burgundy Business School. Y'all want to do a quick intro for yourselves? Elizabeth, why don't you go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I'm very excited to be here talking to you today from Rome, especially because I'm originally from the United States. So even though we had to get up at a silly hour in the middle of the night, it always makes me really happy to connect with students, people, professionals from the US who are interested in coming to Europe to study. So that's me. I've been here for 12 years, and I will talk to you about Università Cattolica today.
Hi there, I'm Mick. My name is Michelangelo Balico. I think I'm the perfect fit for this presentation because I'm half Italian and half French. And I used to work in Cattolica, and now I'm the director of the Burgundy School of Business. So we are very delighted to be here and try to give you more insights about studying in Italy and studying in France. So we are ready to share like as much info as possible.
Awesome. And if y'all wouldn't mind in the chat, please just pop some thanks in there because it is 2 in the morning. And so I'm super appreciative of them waking up and being able to share all this with us. So pop a little love in the chat if you wouldn't mind. All right, so here's what we're up to today. We're going to talk about the value of a master's degree abroad, and we're particularly going to look at industry ties abroad. And this is one thing I feel very strongly about, that if you are choosing to do a master's degree, and this is true across the board, I don't care where you're doing it, in the States or abroad, you have to make sure that there are industry ties included. So you're building your career. And that's why I've included these 2 institutions today. We're going to do a deep dive into these institutions, and we're going to look also a little more broadly around Italian and French system. We're going to talk about financing your degree abroad, and then we'll switch over to next steps and Q&A. Oh, and I should mention for Q&A, at any point, you'll notice at the bottom, you've probably done like a gazillion Zoom things. At the bottom, there is a Q&A. So please feel free to pop questions that come to mind. And we've reserved some time at the end, but we can also try to answer things in writing as it's happening. And then the chat, we're really using to uplift each other. So if you've got something to say that you're excited about, that's where that comment can go. So the first thing is around the value of a degree abroad. So the biggest question I always get is it really cheaper to do my degree abroad? Now, there's not one pat answer here because there's a whole range of prices, but as a general rule of thumb, I would say yes. It is my plan for my son to do his degree abroad because it has gotten so astronomically expensive here. And as you will see today, there's some really good deals abroad. The second question I always get is this a real degree? Now, how do you tell if it's a real degree? So there are 2 main ways to tell. One is to look at rankings. So some rankings to examine are QS times higher education or Financial Times. Financial Times is just for business programs. And just to give you a sense, Cattolica is ranked around 551 overall, which is really good in the world. And just to give you a sense, that's the New School in New York. That's around the same ranking. And in the top, they have 14 subject areas in the top 300 on QS. So that's one way you can tell. The second way, you either need to have one or the other, is to make sure that the program then has industry accredited reputation and validation. So in this case with BSB, they are double validated with AACSB and EQUIS. These are like the amazing validations that you get for business schools. And they're going for the third, which would mean it would be Triple Crown. Triple Crown is very rare and very hard to get. So both of these schools, for different reasons, have amazing rankings, and that's why I'm including them today. The next category, why you would want to do this, is you grow your global skills, you grow your global network, and your industry connections. I believe that especially if you want to live a life abroad, making sure you've got the network and industry connections, that's the way to do it. You still have to build upon those, but that's the way you're going to create your life abroad. And both of these institutions will walk you through how their institution supports. The other thing you should know is a number of countries allow you to have some type of working overseas. This is sort of the route to do that. The way France and Italy work, you get a temporary residence permit for, depending on the country, 6 to 12 months. And then that gives you time after you graduate to find a job and transition to a work visa. So those are all the ways I think that having a degree abroad becomes valuable. So I just want to familiarize you with how degrees abroad can be financed. There are around 400-ish institutions that do take FAFSA, which is the US Federal Financial Aid Program. This is for loans only. And these same institutions also take 529 plans. There's a whole separate list for GI Bill. There's around 500-ish on that list of international institutions that take the GI Bill. And you do that through something called a WEAMS database. I've written articles on that, so I encourage you to go to my website, go to my blog, and check that out. If you go on to the next slide, the institutions that we're looking at today actually are non-FAFSA universities. And I want to say why I'm including a non-FAFSA university. So this means you are not able to use FAFSA loans or 529 plans for funding your university. Now, this has nothing to do with quality. It really just has to do with paperwork. It's an enormous amount of paperwork to get FAFSA through the US Department of Education. And so really what this indicates is the higher the price tag, usually those institutions have invested that money. And so if you have some savings, this can be a really good way for you to save some money for your education. And the price point tends to be anywhere from 0 to 16,000 a year, the average around 8,000 a year. And so when we start looking at programs today, you'll see that range in there, with the average being around 8,000. All right, so today, as you probably can tell, we're looking at France and Italy. And each of these folks today are going to talk about their campuses in Dijon, Lyon, and there's 5 throughout Italy. But as you can see, well-positioned, beautiful places. I want to move there myself. Next slide, Braden. So why Italy and France? First of all, it's vibrant cultures, unparalleled beauty. And a lot of these places have student cities with a young vibe. So for example, Lyon was ranked, I think, the #1 place in France to live for students because it's got a really amazing student vibe. And a lot of these places like Milan are a hub for industries. And so there are job opportunities that can come with that. All right, next one. All right, so I'm gonna sort of pull back a little bit. I wanna give you a sense of Italy and France sort of in general. There's a lot on here, so hang with me. Many of you may have heard about public universities in France and Italy. Same is true actually for Portugal and Spain versus privates. As somebody who's been in this, doing this for a while, I generally suggest if you're going to one of these countries to look at a private institution versus a public. The publics are usually very large, difficult to navigate, and then in addition, the academic systems can be very challenging for a US student. I've had a couple students succeed, so it's not impossible, but I generally suggest privates because there's smaller cohorts, better support, and many have industry connections. And the price points, publics are around 3,000 a year, 2,500 to 3,000, and privates, like we said, can be around 8,000 to 16,000. But I'd say the support and the industry connections, I just feel like you set yourself up for success by choosing that. And then it's good to know that there are different types of master's programs abroad. There can be the one-year master's, and when I say 1 year, it's usually 12 months. And there's the 2-year master's, which generally is around 24 months. And the 2-year master's, you have usually a lot more either science or lab work or those types of things. In all of the cases that we're looking at today, industry experience is incorporated. And I just threw this last thing in here just so you know that in Europe, most of the undergrad programs are 3 years instead of 4. And the reason for that is there's no gen ed. So that saves you time and money. But today we're looking at masters. So I want to give you a quick sense of Italian and French institutions. How much does it cost? Both of these institutions we're looking at today, generally their tuition is going to range from 7,000 to 16,000 a year, depending on the program. There can be specialty programs that are more, but as a general rule of thumb, that's what tuition is today at these two institutions. And cost of living tends to be pretty affordable in these locations, anywhere from 11,000 to 14,000 a year. And that's what you should plan on. And what's great is there's no GRE or GMAT. So that, again, saves you some time and hassle. And there are so many masters in English. And so we're going to go through those today so you have a sense of what's possible. All right, so Elizabeth is up first with Cattolica, and then we're going to go over to Mick with BSB.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Denise, for this wonderful introduction. I am going to ask Denise to keep an eye on the time for me since we have a very short period. I will try to go quickly, give you some brief highlights, and just let me know if I'm talking too much so that we can move on to Mick's presentation. First, I wanted to start out, as I told you earlier, I am actually from the US, so it is very fun for me to kind of reflect on some of the cultural connections and maybe some of the cultural differences that you might find if you decide to come study in Italy specifically. So you can see a few photos here that are stereotypical images of what you might find when you come to Italy. I don't know if some of you might be surprised to see the beautiful nature. Hopefully not. Hopefully everyone's aware of this by now, but I think Italy has to be one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And I always tell my Italian friends and family that they are spoiled, because wherever you go, there is something amazing to see, whether it be an urban center that's full of history, full of beautiful architecture, art, all sorts of world history here, or the nature, because if we have everything from mountains to the sea. Anywhere you go, there's beautiful hiking paths that you could go on, just few minutes outside of each city. If you come to Milan and you happen to like skiing or walking in the mountains, you're in luck, because it's every weekend you could just hop out of the city and find some amazing things to do. And then, of course, wherever you go, the food is wonderful. So these images are relevant not only for the life and the culture that you might experience when you come here, but also for the business programs and the area of study that Cattolica excels in. We are a large private university in Italy, and you can move on to the next slide, I think, because we are the largest private university in Italy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have so many different areas of study, in the sense that at Cattolica, we believe a little bit more in quality over quantity, and we focus very specifically on certain areas of study and our areas of expertise. And those areas of expertise relate directly to the locations that our campuses are in as well. So you can see that we have a campus in Milan, Cremona, Brescia, Piacenza, and Rome. Piacenza, Cremona, and Brescia are our areas where we focus a little bit more on some of the agricultural sciences. Milan is our business hub, where we have the Center of Economics, Finance, Management, International Relations programs. And Rome is where we have our medical campus. So we are focusing on healthcare management for master's programs there. And then we have other medical degree programs that take place there, because we have our university hospital. So each of these locations has been strategically chosen, and the areas of study, the programs that we offer at these locations have been chosen to meet the industry that is surrounding that campus. So I think that you will find a unique community in each place, and you will be able to find some network connections, as Denise was saying, for the area of study that you choose. So this is something to keep in mind when you're taking a look at the vast number of programs we offer. Location matters at Cattolica for several different reasons. The next slide, we will talk about the other reasons maybe to choose Università Cattolica over some other locations, maybe in Italy specifically. As Denise mentioned, it can be a bit confusing to go to a large institution in Italy. Cattolica, it has a big population, especially on our Milan campus, but we are a very close community. The campus feels intimate. When you walk onto the campus, you can see the quad here behind me. It feels like home. Even though I never studied there and I actually live in Rome, every time I go to the Milan campus, it just feels like you belong there. So I think one of the biggest reasons to choose Università Cattolica is definitely our community. And another reason related to the community are the services that we offer to international students. So a big perk for me for coming to Italy to study, especially at the graduate level, is the life experience that you're going to get when you come here. Being in Italy is something that teaches you a different way of thinking, a different way of navigating situations, a different way of problem solving. At Università Cattolica, we really do the best to try to help you through processes that are unfamiliar for you without necessarily holding your hand the whole way through. So I think this is one of the most important parts of the experience, and one of the things that Cattolica does really, really well, because you are going to be given all of the information that you need to succeed. And we really do make a point to ensure that our international students have access to everything that they need, that they have somebody, a point of reference that they can go to if they have questions. But we're not always going to solve those problems for you. And that is part of the learning experience. And that is something that as a person who is an expert in international education and student services, I think Cattolica is definitely top in Italy for international student services. And then, of course, we will talk as we move on to the next slide about our academic profile and the academics. Of course, if you're coming here to study, you want to come to a university that is a strong academic profile and is academically rigorous. So here are areas of expertise that I was mentioning before. First of all, the Milan campus focuses a lot on management. We have a whole bunch of different areas that you might want to explore when studying management. And I think this is really fun to look at. You will see in a couple of slides that I have long lists of various different programs that you could take advantage of, different master's degrees. But if you're interested in management at all, you should know that we have all sorts of different niche areas of study that have actually been developed not only by our professors for the academic community and the needs that the academic community saw, but also from the industry itself. So actual leaders in the field here in Milan have been connecting with our faculty and saying, listen, you know, we need people who are experts in managerial services, experts in understanding organizational behavior, but they also know how to talk to people who are working with data and who are managing our technology. We need people who know the particularity of managing a high-end brand and then marketing specifically for a luxury market. So we have managerial programs that are very, very focused on different needs that we've pulled straight from the industry, that the business was saying, we're missing these type of professionals. So I think that's a very fun thing to take a look at, all of the different management programs that we have. We have marketing, communications, and screenwriting, international relations, diplomacy. These are programs that are great to take in Milan. We also have a cultural diplomacy program in Rome. So 2 different locations there with very significant reasons why you might want to choose those various programs and location. And then the agribusiness and viticulture is something I think really worth looking at. These programs for us are growing right now. And I know that in the US, this is something that really I feel you could benefit from learning from what's going on here in Europe, especially in Italy, about how to manage these things. I know that the industry is going in the direction of probably being interested in learning from what's happening here in Italy. So business, economic, and finance goes along a little bit with our management program. And then the most important thing for us to focus on here is that we have 2 different options, as Denise said, 2-year or 1-year options. So the 2-year Master of Science degree is your traditional master's degree. When you go back home, or if you stay here in Italy after the 2-year program, if you are interested in accessing a PhD at any point in time, you will be able to do that anywhere in the world. With the 1-year program, this is something where I would say you're the ideal candidate if you've just finished your undergraduate degree and you are interested in either exploring something a little bit different. So let's say you've studied business, but now you really want to look at that luxury goods thing, or maybe you've studied economics, but you're kind of interested in healthcare and you want to look at our healthcare management type programs. If you've done something in a 1-year program that you could get into, this is for you to get a little bit more experience in the workplace as well. So if you didn't have that time during your bachelor's degree in order to get an internship in, maybe because you were working, or maybe because that you just didn't have the chance to do that internship that you really wanted to do, and you don't feel like you have the curriculum you need to get back into the industry, you want to stay in your field, but you need a little more work experience. The 1-year master would be perfect for someone who has this goal, because it will give you a work experience and it gives you a work experience abroad. Because almost every single one of our 1-year program has a required internship in there. So these are the differences. 2-year gives you access to further academic study, plus you get academic and practical experience, whereas the 1-year program is going to give you just a kind of little oomph for your curriculum, or maybe give you more hands-on experience that you're looking for.
Hey,
I think we
Elizabeth,
can
you've
move.
got about 1 minute, so
Okay,
probably.
perfect. So we can move on. So here are the list of our graduate taught programs. These are the 2-year programs here. What I would say is that you want to go ahead and just, if you have an interest in any of these specific areas, feel free to reach out to me or Denise, because we have so many programs. I can't talk to you about them all today. I think I give you a pretty good intro anyway about the different areas that we had before. So I'll move on to the next slide and let you see the English 1 year specializing masters. These are our September intake. So applications are open now for these programs here and for the 2-year programs. So just keep that in mind. The next slide shows us our next intake. They start in January, these programs here. So if you're not ready yet and you're thinking, oof, I don't know, we do have a few options that start a little bit later. So keep that in mind as well, and you could apply in the future. The first 2 slides programs already open, and we have our first deadline coming up very soon as well, because we have kind of rolling admissions. But we can move to the next slide as well. So really important, as Denise was saying before, one of the things that we're very proud of at Cattolica is that we have been ranked #1 in Italy for employer-student connections. So like I was saying, the community here at Cattolica is really important. If you are going to come to Cattolica, it is guaranteed that we will open doors for you. Won't necessarily close them. You're going to have to get the job on your own, but we're going to open a huge opportunity of a large network for you. And we're very, very good at helping our students, career services, preparing for the internships, gaining the knowledge that you need, finding out how to translate that academic experience into a practical experience. This is something that Cattolica excels in. I think we have about 2 more slides left, and then I'll give it to Meek. So just if you want to see kind of what some of our alumni are doing, what some of these people have, where they have gone, a couple notable companies or brands that you might recognize. We do have an alumni who's the CEO of Illy Cafe. So I'm sure some of you know Illy Cafe, since it's a very big brand in the US. We also have Vice President working for Louis Vuitton. We also have a former Prime Minister and EU Commission President. So politics, we're out there. We have actually a lot of alumni that are involved here in international relations government here in Italy as well. And then as you can see from the 2 I've highlighted, lots of big brands out there. We've got a lot of alumni, big international companies. We can go to the next slide. So most important, obviously, we do have tuition fees, but I think you will find that our fees are very reasonable compared to prices at comparable universities in the United States. So keep in mind, like Denise said, we have so many of our programs in the top 300, but some of our programs are in the top 150 worldwide. And our tuition fees for the 2-year masters are only $8,690 a year. If you have a good profile, it's very likely that you will get a large scholarship from us. So keep that in mind. We have a scholarship for international students. It is very likely that you could get a scholarship, and you just have to click, please consider me for the scholarship. Graduate 1-year programs, you're going to have to look at those each individually, but the maximum you're going to pay a year is going to be around $10,000. Really, we don't have any programs that go too much higher than that. And each of the programs have different scholarship opportunities. So there are definitely scholarship opportunities for our 1-year and 2-year masters that bring the tuition fees down even more. So as far as pricing is concerned, I think hopefully that looks good to you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Right now, I'll pass the floor over to Meek so that he can tell you how wonderful it is to study in France.
Thank you, Eli, for such an insightful presentation. So let's cross the Alp and the border and dive into the magic world of Burgundy. So we can move to the next one. So Burgundy, so this is like a super nice article I found recently, about Burgundy, and I found there's a huge community, NBA players, DJs, Dwayne Wade is coming to Burgundy every year actually, and also other basket players, and it's incredible. For instance, he went to Dujac, and Dujac is a partner of ours, and we have worked together with Dujac to create like a special scholarship for Black Americans. So it's something you can Google it. So it's called Roots Found, and most of them, they come because, I mean, this region is, so you can really, like, I mean, it's the headquarter of the food and wine, but is where you can find excellence, and it's where people are really hard work, there is knowledge, innovations, and everything can be, can be found in this like 75 centiliters or 750 milliliters of wine. And I just put this bottle of wine because it's a Romanée Conti of 2000, is a Grand Cru, and I would like you, like, later on to guess how much is the price, like to tell you how much can be the value in a bottle of wine. So let's move on. Of course, we are very happy to be like the business school of this region. We have two campuses. The historical campus is in Dijon. It's the capital of Burgundy. 150,000 people living there. A very like student. It's a student city. And then Lyon, which is like a slightly bigger, is in the Rhône. Is an hour and 30 minutes distance. And Lyon is slightly bigger, is around 600,000 people living in there. Let's move on. As Denise said, I mean, it's very important to choose a university of a business school that is fully recognized, and we are. I mean, we are double accredited, AQUIS and AACSB. They are the most important accreditations from Europe and the US. And accreditation is not something, it's not a label that you buy at the supermarket. Is something very, very difficult to get, and it's something very, very difficult to keep. So it means that you need to have like a very strong strategy. You need to have international professors that are part of your, of course, your academic body. You need to have, a very good placement. So that's what we are trying to do, is, having a strong placement and being able to, to place our students in the best companies around France and outside France. So let's move on. Just like a few informations about our program. So we are a business school. It is a huge difference between business school and university in France. So business school, whatever we do for supporting students to get a better placement. So in universities is a place where you get, in general, knowledge. So there are plenty of very good universities in France where you can get like a very good knowledge. The big difference between universities as business school, that business schools, everything will be done in order to provide you the highest possibility to be placed in companies. We have a bachelor in management, and with like 6 different specializations. Everything is in English, and we can move to the next one. And then we have a huge variety of masters. Again, as in Cattolica, and this is like the European higher education framework, you can study or 1 year or 2 years. We have the Master in Management Grande École, which is the most accredited master in management in France. Grande École means literally great schools, and we are part of these great schools that it's part of the excellent, the excellence of business schools in France. As a business school, we design and we change programs. We like to say faster than what you do, but it's true that every year we revise our degrees because, of course, we want to prepare you for the future. So we have to think about what is going to be the needs in 2, 3, 5 years times in order to to teach you the right subjects, and you can be ready. So all our degree for the next step, all our degrees are very flexible. So for instance, the master in 2 years, you can combine 1 year of fundamental of management and then choosing a specific specializations. You can go, you can study abroad, you can really customize all those degrees the way you prefer. So let's move on to the next one. You also have the possibilities to, to study 2 years and have a general fundamental of management and choose one of these Master of Science, or come directly for a Master of Science. We cover like a huge variety of disciplines, from data science to climate change to artificial intelligence, sustainability. We have like 4 main pillars. We have like traditional programs that are based in Dijon, like our program in luxury, our program in arts, our program in banking and finance. And then in Lyon, we have more our cutting edge degree. And we have a strong specialization on artificial intelligence and sustainability, and both programs related to artificial intelligence and sustainability, they are taught in our Lyon campus. In Dijon, of course, we have a business school, a business school in the school, which is our School of Wine and Spirit Business, and I will spend like a few words about it later on. So let's move to the next one. And this is the School of Wine and Spirit Business. So we have a dedicated school to deliver programs in wine and spirit. We are considered among the best 3 specialized business school in wine and spirits in the world. We welcome already a huge number of US students. So we are probably the first business school in France that where US students are the second now largest population. So we are a small business school, and we are 3,000 students, but last year we received 25 students from the US for all our degrees, and 60–70% are coming for our programs related to the wine, the MBA in Wine and Spirit Business, the wine management, but some of them are coming for all the other like degrees that we offer in arts management, in artificial intelligence, in sustainability. That's like the main topics where we have where we receive our students from the US. Let's move to the next one. As I said, we really have like a very customized offer. I like to say we offer a double degree, double the job opportunities, cutting the cost, because it depends on your curricula. But for instance, for US students, they have like 4 years degree, and if they have 4 years degree in management studies, they can come to BSB. They can choose one of the specializing master we offer in any type of disciplines, and we give you like 2 degrees: the master in management Grande École, which is the most accredited degrees, and the specializing master, the Master of Science in the fields that you have selected. So we do it because we can play with the fact that in Europe the bachelor is 3 years, and in the US is the 4 years, and then we validate your last year of bachelor as a first year of your Master of Science in France. So this is an incredible opportunity, because you can study 1 year and you can get 2 degrees. Let's move to the next one. As I previously said, the big difference between like a university and a business school is the attention that we have on your career. At BSB, we have a career booster. We are considering France as not necessarily the best business school, but we are the best business school in terms of the differential we make from the entrance to the exit, which means that we have, because of the size, we have 3,000 students. We can really have like personalized services, and all our personalized services are dedicated and focused to support you for the job placement. So we have like coaches, you're going to have like more than 3,000 hours of personalized coaching. We have a huge possibility of internships. Companies are coming on the daily basis to present their offer at the school, and now and we have different hubs, and the fact that we are super well positioned in France, we have like an access to Switzerland, to Luxembourg, and we have different job offers also available around Europe. Let's move to the next one. The application is smooth and very easy. Everything is online, and as Cattolica, we offer like merit-based scholarships up to 50% on the tuition fees. As Denise said, the tuition fees are pretty affordable at BSB. Like Cattolica, I think we share more or less the same prices, and our graduate degrees are between 10,000, 11,000 euros up to 14,000 euros, but we have a good numbers of scholarships where we can cover 50% of your tuition. So most of our students are getting like 25 up to 50% scholarships, which is a reductions on the tuition fees. Let's move to the next one. And and in order to wrap up, I think Europe is really like an incredible opportunity. We are delighted to see every year like an increased number of US students that are deciding to come in Europe. Then it's up to you to choose, Italy or France. So that depends on your previous experience, of your feeling. But it's true that it's probably now the right moment to dig and to explore those opportunities. We know that in the US sometimes you have to pay your debt for many years, and this is like really a possibility in order to get your degree. For instance, I think both in Cattolica and at the BSB you can study and cover your expenses with like $20,000, covering the tuition fees and these expenses, and you can study in amazing locations with with degrees that have really a very high value. So thank you for your attention. So we hopefully we have been able to give you like the right tips and the right informations about the universities and business school, about the ecosystem in Europe.
Great, thanks so much, Mick and Elizabeth. So I want to make sure you all have the right contact information. So here's some contact information for Elizabeth and some for Mick too. So if you have questions regarding particular programs or just questions regarding the schools, that's some contact information to stick with. Can you move on to the next slide, Braden? I just want to make sure you walk away also with some very concrete next steps. What Mick just said, I thought was really important. The game in the US is you start with a ridiculous price tag, and then you try to whittle it down through merit aid or some type of financial aid. It's a different game abroad, and you're starting with a much lower price tag to begin with, and then if you get scholarships, yay. So you're already starting at a much more affordable price point. So I want to make sure you're clear on your next steps. You need to, I would say, if you're thinking of doing any type of degree abroad, you should apply to, it would make sense to have 3 programs. So how are you going to do that? So attend webinars like this one. You can search databases. I suggest study.eu or mastersportal.com. And then finally, ask a guide like myself. That's why I'm here, is to help orient you to different institutions around the world. And now you have 2 best friends, one in Italy and one in France. And so reach out, ask questions. You don't have to do this alone. And then be sure you're clear on the entry requirements. Everyone is going to be slightly different. but some of them will require experience. So make sure you look at that. Do you meet all the requirements? And just confirm with the institutions. I will say for the most part, it's pretty clear cut to apply to these institutions, assuming you've got already a degree from a US institution. It's not as complicated as I feel like sometimes it is in the States, and there's no GRE and GMAT. And then finally, understand the total cost and ask about scholarships. Here's my contact information in case you need to reach out to me. You can send me a question, you can schedule a free 20-minute call with me, or you can also have something called a graduate guide abroad, and I sort of walk you through some basics of doing that, doing any type of graduate degree abroad. And then the last slide coming up, it's just time for you to start to ask questions. So we've got about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure if we have got any questions that folks can see. I've seen a question earlier that I thought was really relevant.
Denise, I also wanted to just sort of piggyback on what you said, having two best friends now. I know that sometimes graduate school applications can be intimidating, but Meek and I are here and our colleagues are here to help you. So we're not the admissions people yet. You can ask us questions, send us emails. We will help you get those applications, and that's what we're here for. So I want everyone to feel very comfortable, you know, asking us anything. We're really happy to answer.
Great, thank you. And actually, I'm looking at all the questions. It looks like most of them have been answered. Some of them are around program-specific questions. Some of them are around admissions processes. We'll keep everything, sort of keep the line open just to make sure that all of your questions are answered. But pop anything in there in case we've missed something. But at the end of the day, I just want to say, like, this, I feel it's a gift to be able to share this information with you, because I left US higher education because I was concerned about the price tag. And so these are really creative ways to not only get a valid degree, but to build your career. And so be sure to explore both of these universities thoroughly. If you have questions regarding financial aid and how finances work abroad, I'm also happy to help with that too. So it looks like there aren't any more questions. So I just want to give Mick and Elizabeth, do you have any last things that you would like to add before the end of the session?
I do see that someone did ask about the degree more than a certificate. I'm not sure if Meek answered that, but I think that our one-year programs are kind of similar to, yes, a master's certificate, if that's what you're saying. As we were saying before, that the 1 year versus 2 year is different academic value. That mostly applies if you're looking at future study. So if you're going to put our degrees on a resume because you're looking for a job, I think that you're going to be able to sell the 1 year and the 2 year at a very similar value as far as practical experience and knowledge is concerned. But if you are interested in accessing at any point in time a PhD, you will want to look at the 2 year programs. I think that's valid also for Meek's institution, but I will keep Cattolica. The major difference between the 1 and the 2 year is if anyone's interested in continuing their studies to the terminal degree level in that field.
Yeah, I agree, Eli. I would call them more degrees than certificates, because both, I think, BSB and Cattolica, we recognize ACTS credits. So you're going to have, 60 up to 70 credits, which is like the what you need in order to cover 1 year of study in Europe. And then you can transfer your credits, everywhere. Of course, depends on the institutions. The degree can have like different types of recognition, but it's definitely more a degree than a certificate. That 1 and 2 years is really depends, like the level of recognition can be slightly different in France, in Italy, but it's more a degree.
Yeah, it's definitely academically valid in that sense, as Mika is saying, that those credits can transfer to an academic university for sure. So yes, very good point.
Yeah. And I will say, like in Europe, it's not uncommon to have 12-year master's degrees. So it's less common in the States, but in Europe that does happen. But I think, to Elizabeth's point, if you're thinking of a PhD, doing the 2-year, I think is just a smarter choice. All right, Joan Lee is asking, do these institutions help students with housing placements? And Mick, I know you've got a lot to say about that. And I know from my own experience with Cattolica how that works too. But Mick, go ahead for the SPM.
Yeah, I mean, we do actually. So we have a specific website that belongs to the school, and where we put all our offer. Luckily, Dijon and Lyon, more Dijon than Lyon actually. We have like lots of availabilities and I would say affordable prices. In Dijon, you can find a shared accommodation with 300 euros, which means like $350, and with like $500 you can have your own flat. Yeah, we support students because we also need that. You need like a proof of accommodation in order to apply for the visa. So we definitely support you. As soon as you confirm your admission, we give you plenty of possibilities in order to book and reserve your accommodation.
Yep, I would say Cattolica has a very similar situation. We have a company in-house at the university that manages student housing accommodations. And again, it's very important for us, obviously, that you have good accommodations in order to get your visa approved. So our international admissions team is also very good at helping students through those processes and guiding you to all the right resources. So if you're interested in looking for your own accommodation, they will give you some links on how to do that. And then if you want to go through the university accommodation, that will put you in the right direction to get in touch with those people as well. So definitely help you find access to all the information that you need and get the piece of paper that you need to bring to your visa appointment.
Great, thank you. It looks like Andrea has a question. She said, I still have a student loan that I owe on, thankfully not a lot, but would I be able to study in Europe? So yeah, the answer to that is yes, but you would have to be paying off that student loan while you are studying in Europe. Because these are not universities that accept FAFSA, then that means that you would owe on those particular loans at the same time. But you can absolutely study in Europe. There's nothing that would prevent you from doing that. And then Emily's asking a question really specific to Cattolica, and it's in the chat, Elizabeth. So
yeah. So something important to do if you're interested in our programs, as Emily is doing, is to double check each of the individual entry requirements. So for our economics degree, the important thing that you really want to do is to see what they ask for as far as the courses that you've taken, because some of our programs do require prior knowledge of the subject that you're going into. So if it says, let's say that you need to have knowledge of statistics, that is something very important. So her specific question about economics or a bachelor's degree, advertising. Okay, what I would say is to go ahead and send us your question via email, giving us maybe some information about the degree in advertising that you took, because the important thing that we need, our admissions office wants to take a look at, is that you can meet some of the requirements for our the finance courses and some of the courses that have some math involved, because our degrees for international marketing sometimes have specific entry requirements that the professors have asked for. So send me your personal situation via email so that we can take a close look at it and make sure that you're eligible before you apply.
All right. I
Yeah,
think that, oh, go on, Nick.
Yeah, in France is likely different. It's more like the US system. So we are kind of flexible to receive students that have like completely different degrees. So you can definitely have like a degree in psychology and apply for a master in economics. So it's not an issue.
Great. All right. So now you have your two best friends in France and Italy. Let's give them a little bit of love before you jump off the call. It's now 3 a.m. their time. I'm sure they're exhausted. So thank you so much for being here, and reach out to me, reach out to Nick, reach out to Elizabeth. It's an honor to be able to share all this information with you. Thank you, and look forward to next time.
Thank you, Denise, and we wish you the best of luck.
Good night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bonne nuit.